talk about that. What's the implications for us in sales? Is big data something we should even be aware of? Should we be cautious of it? Should we embrace it? Kind of give us some thought. And obviously the rest of you jump in as well.
I think that's an excellent point, because I think of one big data company, and I participate in a lot of technology webinars to keep up with this kind of thing. But there is no way on this planet my company is a good client for them. They're an enterprise service. You know, I'm a small business, less than 10 people. And so what happens? They have the data on me. I know they do, because I filled out all the information for this webinar, right? So they know exactly what size my company is. And yet, they put 3 sales reps on calling me, and they hounded me for like 3 weeks until I finally felt so bad for one of the salespeople. I called her up and I just said, you know, I feel bad about this, but stop calling me. I'm not a client for you. So I find it somewhat hysterical that these organizations have the data, but to your point, they don't even use it appropriately. So what's the point? It's ironic, isn't it? Because the point of having the data is being able to be more focused and targeted in making those phone calls, which, you know, Dana, it just reminds me that that's a whole other discussion I think that we need to be thinking about. I think management continues to measure the wrong things. So they're measuring a lot of phone calls, they're not measuring the right phone calls. So, you know, it was, for me, 3 people from one sales organization phoning and emailing me, and I'm never going to buy from them. Never, because it's just not a product that fits me at all. And so, you know, so I laugh whether it's big data or social selling. It just feels like people are trying to find what's the quick fix. And all of you, like me, we've been selling for a long time. There's no quick fix, but I still think we need to be smarter about how we do target and approach people.
If you let that go long enough without appropriate training, no one's going to want to take the calls from anyone in your company because they're really upset at you. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think all of you guys know I write a lot about how important I think messaging is and having the right kinds of sales skills, and therein lies the problem with all the experts, right? Because they want to boil it down to just a few little sound bites and make it sound as if now selling is easier than it ever was, and it isn't. And I agree with you 1,000%, Miles. I fear that management is not paying enough attention and does not understand that they can harm their brand just as fast and just as quickly as they can help it. And so while I believe you want to gather information, you're absolutely right. Most people are not being given the training they need to understand how to use the information. And so when it ends up coming off like, oh, I just read about X, Y, and Z, or it feels to the person on the other side like some sort of an interrogation, they're not validating some of the information. I mean, if you even think about the example that Anthony gave, which was, you know, great selling in and of itself. I think we can help you. Are you willing to give us a couple of minutes? Let's just talk about it. And if we're not able to help, great. That still works. I don't know why people keep trying to overcomplicate everything. So I believe in what you're saying 100%.
And to Barb's point, you can do a lot of damage going out believing that you know something you don't really know.
Yeah. That's why I love it, Anthony, when somebody will say to me, oh, well, somebody looked at my LinkedIn profile. That's an opportunity to engage right there, right? And I say, really? Why? What's the context? You don't even know how they got there, what they looked at, what they care about. And so again, I think it goes back to how Miles kicked us off, that, you know, there are people preaching shortcuts, which just annoys the heck out of me, because there's just no shortcut that I'm aware of to being a great salesperson over the long term.